Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you my fourth match with Jund Souls of the Lost. We have the three lands. We have ways to fill a graveyard, a Tarmogoyf. So yeah, I like this hand. No interaction against an opponent's Ragavan, but I guess we'll find out what they're up to. Maybe we won't need any interaction against our opponent's Ragavan. Another Footfall Crater. So we can get a Blood Crypt to play out the Stitcher Supplier and have the red. Oh man, I don't even know. I think we're just going to run out this Proving Ground. Did we see a companion? No. So we're either up against Control, Domain. I guess it could be a slow Isn't hand. Or a slow whatever hand. Alright. Maybe it's Mill. Brazen Borrow, the petty theft part of Brazen Borrow is really good against our strategy. Alright, maybe it's Grixis Control. Maybe it's Grixis Death Shadow. Could be anything with what we've seen so far. Alright. See if they bother to counterspell this. 6 cards in hand. So this, if it resolves, will set us up for a hasty Tarmogoyf should they tap down, which it seems unlikely given what we're playing up against. What is our Tarmogoyf at? A 4/5. I mean, a hasty 4/5 not with trample isn't like a game ender the way Souls of the Lost can be, but it's still pretty powerful. We'll see what happens. I mean, okay, looks like blue-black control perhaps, blue-black graveyard shenanigans. The fatal pushes are really good against our deck. And they're playing Death Shadow. Got it. Well, we have a fatal push for that. Looks like they have counter magic for it though. So I think assuming they're going to have a counter spell, so I think what we're going to want to do is hold up our mana for this Seek the Beast. And then at the end of their turn, fatal push the Death Shadow, or Seek the Beast and see what happens, and fatal push the Death Shadow. And then the next turn, play a hasty Tarmogoyf. So we're going to need green, black, and something else. Anyway, that's the best one probably. If they do tap down, we can go ahead and fatal push now. And, Stitcher Supplier is a really good blocker, assuming they're not running any kind of trample shenanigans the way we are. So Death Shadow doing Death Shadow things, hurting themselves. See what we mill. Another fatal push. That's too bad. Preordain. Okay. They may let the Seek the Beast go if they have just one counter spell, because then they're going to want to protect their Death Shadow at all costs. So we just go get a forest, preserve our life total, and go ahead and get a Stomping Ground. See if this baits out a counterspell. Such a mind, you know what, playing against Death Shadow. So they're going to have the counter magic. They held up the counter magic. They were disciplined and realized that their best threat is on the battlefield already, and they, no matter what, I mean, they saw what we drew, which was not a fatal push, or what we hit off the Seek the Beast. So good for them. Good for them. So if we attack for 5 haste, they go to 4, which puts this up to 9. I mean, that's pretty good. And they probably will have the fatal push for the Tarmogoyf on the next turn. So we can play the Questing Druid. We're going to play the Tarmogoyf. We cannot give the Tarmogoyf haste and play the Questing Druid, though. So that's really unfortunate for us. So play the Bauble start to start. We'll see what we're drawing. Stitcher Supplier. So we need the 3 mana for haste. We don't really care about, we could just cycle, and anyway. All right, I'm trying to think. I mean, the Stitcher Supplier is a good blocker. I don't know if we can cycle from exile. All right, so we will crack this. We got our mountain. Give this haste. Put our opponent to 4. I don't know if we can do alternate costs. I don't think we can. So I think we just wait to see what we draw. Cycle this Footfall Crater to end of turn. Hope our opponent can't kill us. If we draw a Fatal Push, that'd be really good. And we did, so see if they have that next counter spell. So we managed to shuffle ourselves into a Fatal Push. Imagining our opponent has nothing but remove or counter magic and removal in their hand. They haven't played another threat this turn. They still have 6 cards in hand, so I can't imagine this is living. Unless the only way they can kill the Tarmogoyf takes all their mana. Which it looks like it does. All right, so that was good for us. Fatal Push is only 1 mana, so maybe they just have a Drown in the Lock or something, and they weren't going to be able to play counter magic and kill our Tarmogoyf. They didn't want to risk. So let's see what Ledger Shredder. Okay, so right now it'd be a good turn to draw a Souls of the Lost. Now they're going to hit with the Fatal Push on the Tarmogoyf. Yep, all right. Fair enough. So Souls of the Lost and the game's over. Tarmogoyf, the game might be over. Very close to being over. Wouldn't be quite over. So yeah, here we go. 1 draw, 1 time. Souls of the Lost. Well, we did get lucky off that Fatal Push, so we can't complain too much. Yeah, you know, I always feel like when I crack my fetches, I just end up shuffling and land back on the top. So we'll cycle this. Hope to hit the Souls of the Lost 1 time, 2 times this game. Thoughtseize. All right, well, Thoughtseize isn't bad. It's not really what we were hoping to get. But we'll see what our opponent's up to. We still, I'm totally misplaying, by the way. Bowmasters, yeah. Bowmasters and Drown in the Lock. Death Shadow. Wow, what a hand. And I misplayed. I should have ran out this Questing Druid and made it a 2/2. It would have died no matter what. So our opponent is just chock full of... So, okay. Death Shadow, we're dead next turn. And they have Drown in the Lock. Bowmasters, so I think we have to take the Death Shadow And we should have made that a 2-2. So that's all on us. Sequencing wise, yeah, that was a mistake. So do we want to compound that mistake and not cast it this turn? Now that we know they have the drown on the lock, the Bowmaster's Worker is going to kill it no matter what. So yeah, we missed our window. I think what we're going to do is pretend like we did that on purpose so that when we draw this, Souls of the Lost, we'll cast this, and then maybe they'll drown in the locket. And then we'll sneak in our Souls of the Lost. Okay, so they're playing it smart. And we're going to hit another useless land. So we're not getting very good lucky off the top with our 22 land deck. We're up to 6 mana. And we've milled some, we've fetched some. So we've actually, we've drawn a lot of land. We've taken a lot of land out of the deck. We're down to, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lands in our, so we're basically half of our lands are gone. And we're quickly losing even the ability to sneak in and attack to win. Souls of the Lost might still get us there if we can play around the drown on the lock. So hitting land there a couple turns in a row has really hurt us. Questing Druid as a 2-2 would be better, obviously. So we definitely misplayed that, but we might still be able to use it to our advantage. Seek the Beast would be good. I'll probably counter that. Stitcher Supplier is not a great card. So what we can do though is we can now run out the Questing Druid, just how we drew it up. Let's see what our opponent does. Run out the Stitcher Supplier. Grow their Ledger Shredder. Grow our Questing Druid. It's probably just bait out a Orcish Bowmasters. Yeah, so they're going to keep the drown on the lock. They've had time to draw other answers, so we're still needing basically 2 cards to have a chance. Let me see what we milled here in a second. There's one of our Souls of the Lost. That was what we're going to draw, it looks like, too. Ouch. Well, sometimes that happens. Death Shadow. Alright, so we're definitely out of the win the game with a good draw at this point. Their Death Shadow is massive. And yes, we will have a massive Souls of the Lost, but I'm not sure it's going to matter. And a 4-5 coming through. Yep. I mean, yeah. All right. Well, if they don't have a Fatal Push in their hand, we can theoretically draw Souls of the Lost. Does it tell me what it is here? It would be a 15-16. They would block to 11 and take 4. So yeah, I think we have to just not block. Hope they don't have a Fatal Push. Hope to draw Souls of the Lost. Do I shuffle or do I go ahead and fetch a land out to thin out the deck? I mean, that's what the percentages say, right? 3 is not. All right, we're going to play the percentages, see if we get max punished. I mean, the odds are not in our favor anyway. There's 3 Souls of the Lost in our deck. Tarmogoyf probably won't get there. All right, this is it. This is the game. Will we draw something Souls of the Lost off the top? Okay, well, that's why we left that land in the deck, so that we could cycle it. One more draw. One more time, deck. You can do it. And we go to 1, because it's our second card to draw. And we are probably dead. We are definitely dead. So we really need to hit the Souls of the Lost there. Well, they just took out the Mishras, so what were we drawing? Questing Druid. All right. Well, we'll go to game number 2. So a bit of a misplay with the Questing Druid. I'm not sure it would have mattered in hindsight. You never know, though. We just didn't draw very well after that. So having if we'd drawn better, it might have punished us more to not play it sequence that correctly. But all right, so they're gonna bring in ley lines, I imagine. So we'll bring in our Assassin's Trophy. Usually Bob was the first to go. This Pulse of Marasa might be a good card to bring in against the deck full of removal, and it gains us a bit of life. I'm just not sure what we take out in its place. Thoughtseize typically, I mean, I think it's good in this matchup because it can clear the way for some of counter magic to stick what we need. Could just bring in another Terra Sunder for the removal aspect. Fatal Push is good, obviously. Lightning Bolt, I mean, their life total, that's the thing about Death Shadow. Their life total gets so low, sometimes you can just steal a game by chaining together a couple bolts. All right, so we'll bring in a bit more removal, run it like that. And Death Shadow is making a bit of resurgence, I've seen around. At least this is free play, so maybe that's why. But okay, 0 land, 0 keep. Okay, well, we have some lands. We don't have any black mana, though. That's really awkward. Really, really awkward. Do we just trust that we draw the black mana in time? We'll keep. And then what do we put on the bottom? Souls of Lost is one of our best cards. Tarmogoyf we can actually cast. Terra Sunder answers Leyline. Maybe we just put the bolt to the bottom. I mean, I'm really banking on us drawing a black source here, right? I guess we would have, okay, so we don't know about the Leyline until after, so we'll run out this Stomping Ground. We would love to hit a black source followed by a Footfall Crater. And just assume our opponent has no way to interact with anything we're doing, because, that's pretty likely. Preordain. Okay. Or dash in Ragavan here would be good. Make sure we get a treasure token out of to get to our black source. So Ragavan or fetch land. Max punished. Well, let's run out this 1/2 Tarmogoyf. At least we know they're not playing lightning bolts, so they'll fatal push us whether it's a 5/6 or a 1/2, and if we draw a black source, we can grow it, swing in. Oh, it's a 2/3. Watch out! Tarmogoyf's coming. Voidwalker. So that's a good one for them. So maybe the bolt is pretty good. So now black source. We still need the black source, people. We'll save this Terra Sunder. I mean, we could cast it now, but it does exile other things. It doesn't even hit the creature anyway, so what a great draw for us. Never mind. I was about to make a big play, big mistake, and Terra Sunder a creature that we can't do until we have 4 mana, so oops, that would have been bad. 3/4. We're getting there. We need to hit some black sources. A couple more mana here to turn this Terra Sunder into actual creature removal. We only brought in 1 of these, by the way. We have the 3 Assassin's Trophies. But yeah, this is for Leyline and the Void mainly. Fatal Push. And they have counter magic. Will we hit a black source, or will we just... Ooh, I love it. So now we need a black source and... or an Assassin's Trophy. Even Assassin's Trophy. I said Assassin's Trophy. We still don't have the black source. Wow, we are getting so punished right now for our mana. Well, I mean, we kept the hand and knew we'd be risking hitting a black source. Last game we flooded out pretty hard there in the middle of the game when we needed to draw action. Got up to a lot of land, and this game we are missing lands. So sometimes that happens. Frustrating way to lose the game. It always is, though. So we need to go run around our land, have a chance, and hope our opponent has no counter magic. And it's got to be a black source. Instead, we draw another Assassin's Trophy. I mean, it's laughable at this point. We go to 6, and then we go to dead. Maybe it's worth tweaking the sideboard, I don't know. And now we're probably just straight up dead. So that's 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we are dead. Anyway, sometimes you miss your land. Sometimes you keep a 2-lander and you don't hit your 3rd color. Sometimes you have a good start but flood out in the middle of the game and lose. Is it a sign of a bad deck, poorly built deck? I don't think so. I think you just have, that's part of variance, that's part of magic. I think this is a pretty solid deck. I'm going to keep testing it. I think we got pretty unlucky in this matchup. Could have been fault of the user on that not mulliganing that hand. It definitely was a risk to keep. But, that's why you play Magic. Variance is a part. Telling my opponent about the video. Hopefully they don't get... Anyways, this is Johnny Cycles of cyclesgaming.com. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Janky. I'm Johnny Cycles of cyclesgaming.com. Check out my website where you can read articles on my Commander decks, my various modern brews, and my science fiction fantasy novel that I'm publishing serially every month. cyclesgaming.com. Be sure to click that like button and subscribe button on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next one.